Oh, hello everybody and welcome to Clan Spotlight, and tonight we have got Late Nights, a great nemesis of the Old Skool clan and one of my favorite clans out there. I've seen a few of their matches. They were pretty interesting, definitely worth watching. And today I've got Lord Commander Guts himself, the clan leader, who is gonna talk to us about his clan, what they do, and everything. Say hello, Commander Guts.
Hello, hello.
Should I just call you Guts, by the way?
Yeah, Guts is fine.
Okay, awesome. So, Guts, without further ado, can you please tell us about the clan's history? How did it get started from the beginning?
Ooh, okay. I'm ready. So, Band of the Hawk was our original name back in like 2006. And now there is a clan out there, Band of the Hawk, that's in a. They actually recently joined us, joining Late Nights, that is. So not to be confused with the 2006 Band of the Hawks. We were Band of the Hawks in 2006 in a game called Halo. And about a couple months later, we decided not to get away from that. It was named after an anime. So we wanted to get our own unique name. And I had a friend kind of, refer the name Late Nights. And I was like, it's not a bad idea, but, it's going to sound like we're not punctual. So I kind
Not
of
so punctual nights.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, I mean, we do stay up late at night to play Halo, so it made sense at the time. And, our name is still Late Nights today, because it came back from the dead. I want to say I'll say earlier this year. No, I'll say even last year, at the end of last year, back when Total War Arena was still in closed beta.
Yeah,
So,
names do not really have to be permanent, in my opinion. I mean, I see
definitely.
million-dollar companies changing their names, changing their logos all the time. So, we might see like an update to the name, and I'll definitely get that updated if you guys decide to change it. And I do have one comment about the Band of the Hawk. I feel like that's a horrible name, for obvious reasons, because it ended up getting slaughtered and the remaining members raped or worse.
I can
Just
say
saying.
for a fact, that's not what happened with us.
See, that's not the source material though.
Right.
So you see, people are getting wrong ideas. Very,
right.
very wrong ideas.
Don't want them to think that's going to happen. There's not going to be an eclipse and consume all the members.
Let's hope not.
Oh gosh.
Yes,
no.
that's horrible for PR, from what I heard.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm kind of glad we went with the name, and it's kind of grown on me over the years. I mean, we've been pretty much a Halo team since Halo 2, into Halo 3, Reach, and even 4. So we had a few tournaments. We actually went up the West Coast to do some tournaments on Halo 2 and 3. We did pretty good. I didn't actually pursue it further. Actually, one of my friends, CloudFan11, who's the co-founder of Late Nights, he ended up branching out and going to another team and doing some other stuff, and kind of left Late Nights with me. And we kind of turned into this casual kind of clan, and that's kind of how we were. I brought back Late Nights after I joined a different team for a different game called Chivalry Medieval Warfare.
Mm-hmm.
That was like back in like 2014. And so we got competitive with that game, and the clan ended up kind of
You became competitive ballerinas?
Yes, competitive ballerinas is a great way to put it.
Holy shit, that's a great clan name right there.
Actually, the clan name was Hellish. That was the clan I was with for about a year, I'll say. And then after that, it kind of started going, downhill. The community started dying. The games weren't as active. So I kind of branched out and kind of revived Late Nights a little bit. We were just kind of like a casual memeing group. We just hung out. There was no mandatory rules for them to kind of like practice this day. We wanted to kind of be different from what we see in most teams these days. Very consistent with practice. And that's not to say that we can't practice a lot. We try to practice as much as we can when we can. I kind of restarted Late Nights last year to kind of be a little more, I guess, flexible with its members. I mean, I had at the time I had 3 jobs. I had kids. It was pretty rough on me, and I didn't want to demand anything of anyone. I kind of wanted like just to put time in that I could, and where I could.
Understandable, completely understandable. Yeah, that kind of gives us history. How did you guys get started in the arena? What's your history in the arena?
So I played Arena back in the Steam beta. Ooh, back in like 2000. So basically, I went back and forth between Chivalry, and I was always a fan of Total War. I played since Shogun 1 back in late 90s.
Yeah.
And from there, I got a competitive edge. And after stepping out of the Chivalry scene, I was excited to hear about a competitive PvP Total War game. A lot of my clanmates come from the wargaming scene, so I'm not actually familiar with it. I've never actually touched a wargaming game. So it's pretty new to me, being introduced to wargaming, and it's definitely different than most of the other Total War games. But I think I see like a pretty huge PvP opportunity there with Total War Arena, and so I jumped in on it, and I had access to the Steam beta, and I was playing that, and it went on whatever hiatus to go under new development under wargaming, right, as the publisher, and so I waited after a while, and they finally just came back last year, and they started inviting people to jump into the alphas, and I was one of these alphas. Right. And definitely had fun. And then I knew right away I wanted to get into this game, and I put a lot of time into it. And as it's developed into open beta, I put some money into it, and hoping to kind of shine off my new characters, cosmetics, and such.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's great to know. So that kind of paints us from where we came from. So let's talk about the now. And what would you say makes your clan unique? What would you say would make people join your clan?
So we try to be a little different. I mean, you probably have already talked about Old Skool, but those guys are great. Another big clan, and I'd say are about second in size to them. They're pretty big, and they openly recruit anyone. We are very lax in recruitment. If we see someone that we want to try out, we'll definitely ping them. Otherwise they'll ping us, and we'll try them out and trying to work with them, practice, and get them up to shape. A lot of clans will try and do that, but what ends up happening is you'll get players that kind of filter out. They're like, all right, well, I kind of want to get more serious right now. They're just training new folks, and it makes sense. Some clans want to focus on that, but eventually you'll have people break off. You'll have several different clans that come out of it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either. It's always good to have competitive scene, and it definitely keeps the community up and running. So we definitely wanted to counter Old Skool. That was our thing. We wanted to make sure that they had someone to fight with. We were always there. We played against Prometheans, Band of the Hawk, Art of Warfare, even 5D Gaming. We've all kind of joined up in the Melee Gaming Association. So that's kind of where all the clan leaders are meeting to kind of scrim. It's been a little quiet lately because of some updates, and I mean, you'll still see players still playing around. Maybe not as a team, but just casually playing. And we really wanted to take on that idea, and we want players to kind of just relax, hang out. I mean, late nights is more of a hangout spot because we don't want to make mandatory practices. Even though we do have weekly matches against Old Skool, people are more than welcome to jump in. We've even said, if we have more than 10 players, we can jump into 2 teams and do 2 scrims at the same time. So, I mean, we definitely want to be open to, I guess, to new players and to more experienced players to kind of form different teams to either, practice, learn a lot, on the way, or to train for tournaments coming up. I mean, Rise of the Commanders just happened not too long ago, and we're pumped for the NA. I mean, we really want to,
That's true. You've got Rise of the Commanders NA and Asia, I think, coming up. So you're going to be fighting against the Asian teams, and that can be very interesting. That could be a great avenue to earn some reputation right there. I mean, the Dream Team, the victor of Rise of the Commanders, they were already the tournament favorite. And so they fought some great names. Everybody learned quite a bit, and I'm glad you also mentioned that clans break up and everything. Now that has happened from what I've seen to every single clan, especially in the arena so far. Like we had the Dream Team. Some people coming in and out. They have joined the Imperials. We had in the EU community a few clans breaking out. And then a few of them joining with the others, vice versa. So there has been a lot of, how should I say, dynamic flow of players going in and out. Some turnovers, some people just being disgruntled, some people just, looking for greener pasture sort of thing. But this just really shows people care enough to just stay in that field. And just like in every professional sport, you have players switching around. I mean, if you think about like football, you have all these famous footballers who played for, I don't know, half a dozen teams throughout their career, if not more. Some a lot more. Like I remember in basketball, oh my god, it's a lot more. So
definitely. Yeah.
So
and I encourage it.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
in the sense for people to force themselves to join different clans, but it's a great experience anyways to see different ways to play, different ways to kind of shape yourself.
Like in a lot of communities, I see that there's this concept of false loyalty. Like people just get so-called loyal. Oh, if you leave, you're a traitor and everything. People should not see it that way. It's a professional. It's a professional avenue. Players sign in on a seasonal basis and stay there. Now, I understand there are some cases that can be considered treason. Like, let's say somebody left in the middle of a season, did not tell anyone, and brought their secrets over. Now, that's a big red flag right there. That's a whole different can of worms. But that's not what that's not what has been going on in Arena at large. So I've been seeing it as like a healthy exchange of players, if anything. So that has been a pretty interesting thing. That's very nice to see. Like you guys are fairly relaxed, but you guys have a pretty good history with competitive gaming. Right now, you're training with your nemesis, so to speak. So that's pretty good. With a friendly competition. That's a wonderful thing. And can you tell me a little bit about your training sessions? How do you guys usually train, when you do train?
So we do 3 different things. So one of the most effective tools to kind of shape up yourself as individual skill is to we'll work one-on-one with some of the newer players, and we'll kind of take him in, and we'll even do casual matches, and we'll jump in to try to show him around. If he's infantry, we show him the tricks of defending against blocks. How to point your men towards archers. That way you reduce the amount of damage. Just little things like that, and we'll kind of work with them until they get comfortable with it, and then from there we kind of let them kind of float on their own, so to speak. And we kind of watch with them and kind of work as a unit at that point. And then you kind of mitigate between all the leaders. We have a lot of leaders in late nights, and it's a good thing because there's sometimes too many questions that one person can't really answer. Because I myself, I'm a cavalry main, so if anyone has any questions for cavalry, I'm your go-to. But if people have questions about archers or other units, that we have definitely a wide variety of leaders out there to really help and kind of answer questions. And most of the stuff is common knowledge, so it can be kind of shared amongst us. And we try to answer questions in that manner. This is just more an individual format. The second one would be more along the lines of polishing in the competitive way, where we do 1v1s. Now it does cost 5,000 silver to host a private match, but I will say this though, it is more. I'd even say it's vital that you try to do these 1v1s, so that way you know what to expect. I have a few examples I could probably send you against me and Cardinal. We kind of pick a scenario like, all right, pretend I'm an archer and you're trying to come to me and I'm actually trying to bait you. How do you get out of it? And we do that scenario. I go into the forest with Cav. He tries to pretty much keep his archers alive. No, excuse me. And then we try to maneuver. And we do that over and over and over again. So, we'll try with different commanders, same tactics, different units, here and there. And it definitely, it really opens your eyes to a wider avenue of things that you can do as your own commander with the abilities that you have. It changes everything.
Right.
And definitely it's good to test the waters. I made a separate account to do infantry. I know my main account is a cavalry only account, and then I have another account that I do just infantry, and it's pretty cool to see some things that you can do as infantry, so you know how to fight against it if you're Cav. We definitely encourage trying different units and seeing what you're best at, and then working on what you're really bad at. So that way, it's you kind of work on it, your strengths and weaknesses, and that's something we like to know as leaders. Where do they lack? Where can we help them? And that's where we kind of push it to this 1v1 action, where we're like, all right, well, I see that you're not really good in the forest. Let's try and get you to train in the forest, and then we'll pick a random map and just pick one specific forest, and then you kind of try to duke it out in that one area, or not even forest. It could be like setting traps, learning how to set traps properly. what's obvious and what's not obvious, and work from there. Try to not be too what's the word I'm thinking of, predictable.
Yeah.
And then our last one, we like to do bigger scrims. So maybe a 5v5 within clan. We'll try and do that maybe once a month to kind of see where we're at, see what players are working with which other teams, because we like to run different comps, and some players like to be a little more either archer heavy or cav heavy, like myself. And so we'll try to organize through comps, unit compositions. And from there, we'll go off and train. And we have these scrims that we're doing every week with Old Skool. And I like to participate and lead and where I can. And we have some other leaders take turns during each round. And Old Skool the same way. And it's a great way to learn to just go 10v10. You have two giant clans just going at it. It's great to watch. I mean, I like to host it on Twitch, so you guys can always come see it. And you learn a lot just in the scrims, because the metas, you can see it, on Twitch and through the tournaments and such, but you have to learn to counter the metas, and everyone has their own unique take to it. We like to kind of have our own as well.
Yeah, I see. That's pretty interesting. Honestly, that's also pretty unique, because there have been actually a lot of debate among a lot of clans. I know almost every clan had that. The validity of 1v1 trainings. There are some arguments for it, some against it. For example, one argument against it is that you are gonna get used to that other person's style, so you're just gonna cement your mistakes, and it does not reflect the actual tournament battlefield, so it is not gonna be a scenario that's gonna be coming up much. But I think it also has the validity, as you said. As cavalry, a lot of the times you're going to be fighting 1v1 with the enemy calves, so there you can definitely have a very good point. Yeah, that's honestly a pretty interesting way of training. I love it.
Oh yeah, definitely. We like to kind of throw different varieties out there too, so we're not always doing the same units, and that way we get a feel for it. We can experience, so that way it kind of helps you with timing. I know for cavalry, timing is very important. If you don't get the charge off in time, or you miss the timing for the jukes, you'll get hit pretty hard, and you'll end up paying for it. So timing is everything for cavalry. And that's not to say other units. I mean, archers, definitely you have to make sure you beat the other archers out, and if you have the distance, you can definitely have that advantage, but you have to be able to counter the distance, and maybe and we like to incorporate that. Not even 1v1s, you can do 2v2s and kind of practice with cav and archers, or different builds, just to see what kind of works and who can kind of click with it, and what units are, I guess, more suited for defense for a specific type of unit.
Right. So that kind of gives us a very nice picture of the clan's past and the clan's current. What about the future? What is the goal? What is the end game for the late nights? Do you have any end game?
Yes, we definitely want to help Total War stay active, and we want it to be competitive. I mean, hell, we'd love it to be esports. I mean, it's not quite there yet. I mean, we're still in open beta, so it's still a long ways to go, but we're there to at least entertain while we can. We're expecting players to jump in the clan, come in as new players, or jump out to join their own specific teams, and that's fine. We definitely appreciate it, and we love the experiences that we have, and we encourage other teams to start up, and we even are open to any scrims or any challenges. We love competing. We love playing against other teams. It gets us to learn new habits and break old ones, and just be ready for everything. Always have an open mind, and it definitely helps us in that advantage. Just keeping our eyes open to all opportunities, even if it's just playing a different team.
Yeah, that's a great idea, great goal. I love it. So now that we've established, as I said, it paints a pretty good picture to me, in my opinion. I mean, it looks like you guys have everything planned out. So now that we've established those, how can new people join? What is the recruitment process?
It's more or less through word of mouth. I mean, you just kind of message either me or one of the other leaders and say, "Hey, I'm looking to try out." I mean, everyone's invited to our Discord. We do have a few rules. I mean, we definitely don't want to bully anyone. We don't want to say any racial stuff or any of that stuff. We just be casual, be friendly. If you feel like someone's kind of being a little aggressive, you just kind of say, "Hey, look, all right, take it down. I'm gonna step away for a second." And
unless it's against Carthage, because as we all know, Carthago delenda est.
That's right.
And it is completely acceptable. Or weebs. Or weebs.
There you go. So
Obviously.
definitely, yeah. Feel free to reach out to any one of the leaderships. You'll have myself. You'll have Storm's End, Rainfire, Popalore, and Rumple. He's also in our clan. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, we had Band of the Hawk join us. They were actually a pretty competitive clan and our main rivals until they joined us. Now Old Skool is our main rival. And we're a pretty big clan because of it. I think the exchange has been really great. We've learned a lot just from each other, kind of sharing our own little tactics. It's helped us a lot, and we're ready to teach a lot of people some of the things we learned.
Right. I was actually watching one of your games together, one of your practice games together. Roman called me in so that I could see how the games were being played. It was really good. It was pretty interesting. I did not interfere in the game, but I did give some feedback after the game. So it was honestly a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of out of meta, because cavalry is kind of like a rare thing to see in a lot of competitive ones. Although I feel like it's a little early to talk about meta because we only had just a few tournaments and just loose understanding of what is the best.
Right, and with every patch, everything changes.
that as well. Like you get new commanders and everything. So just like in every sport, you need to have stability. I mean, one of the reasons why football, soccer, chess, all of them, it's because the rules have stayed basically the same for over 100 years. So they kind of need to keep it a little similar, in my opinion.
Right, yeah, definitely not drastic changes all at once.
Yeah, consistency. In fact, I recently watched a extra credits video about the challenges facing esports, and yeah, consistency is the number one thing. So now that we have covered just about anything, do you have anything else to add? Anything else you want to talk about?
No, sure. I mean, we definitely want to help the devs try to, create a really good competitive scene, esports environment for the players. And I mean, it's still missing a lot. I mean, things that we're waiting for is definitely the spectator mode. I want to stream other matches.
Yeah.
And, that way we don't have too much bias. I mean, it's cool to hear from one side of the team, but, you want to kind of see both sides playing it. And you're like, oh, yeah, I would love to hear commentary on a neutral party, Yeah. So they definitely need spectator mode. We're waiting for that, and I will definitely start streaming more. If I have time to stream more.
I'm glad that you have mentioned that, because while you're there, let me mention something. Please add replays into private matches, please.
Oh yeah, very vital. I mean, it's a good way to get stuff in there.
Yes, I mean, come on, like. Spectre, I understand there's some technical challenges and everything, even though, no, I don't understand. But okay, well, let's leave that. Can we please add it on to the replays? It's not that hard. I mean, that's where people really need the replay, not in their random games.
Right. And every once in a while, I mean, you will have a cool play, but usually, you can just go straight in. But,
not just that, because with the replay, you can watch it from both sides, and you don't need two spectators.
That's right.
So yeah, it's gonna solve a lot of the problems in turning this game into an esport, in my opinion, because esport, despite what most people believe, is not about the player. It's about the viewer. You need to make it fun to view, fun to watch, and fun to play, and give them idea that they can become just like those people winning a lot of money. That's right. That's how exactly poker became, I would say, the first so-called esport. I mean, sure, you could argue chess and everything, but it already had like a very respectable position for thousands of years. But poker, just in like a few decades ago, it became a professional thing because they improved how you can view. How you watch that thing. So
that's key.
That is key. You need to make it entertaining to watch, not only for the players but for the new people. Like at the start of every episode of the poker game, you see explanation of the rules, introduction, and everything, so that a person who doesn't even know can enjoy what is going on. And if you look at the old ones before they had all of that, before it became like a television sensation, it was only enjoyable if you knew everything. So the target demographic was just so shrunk. So the here it needs to be also fun to watch, and that's exactly how it should be. I feel like that's where Total War Arena can really shine, by having those introductions, so that they can even beat League of Legends, because with League of Legends, if you're watching it, they don't explain anything. If you don't know what champion is that or that, it just enjoys from a huge player, from huge player population, so it can skip that. But if you don't do that, you can reap the poker's reputation, in my opinion. So
Definitely.
yeah,
we have the streamers too. I mean, there's so many people that want to stream it and are very knowledgeable with the game.
Exactly.
We're just waiting for the tools. I mean, I think the tools given to content creators right now is kind of minimal.
Yeah, it's bare minimum. Like, at least it's better than what it used to. It's better than what we started with. Like, if you look at my first tutorial videos, I didn't even have a replay function, so I had to record it live, and then I get the video first and then the audio, so that made it really difficult to create content. And the easier you make it on the content creators, the better. But I feel like we're starting to get sidetracked, so let's wrap it up. And well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And if you do have any questions for joining and everything, feel free to contact Commander Guts or any one of the people you think who are in the clan. And that way you can get your questions answered. Thank you very much, Commander Guts, and say good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.